And welcome to another episode of Agents of Travel. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Palm, aka Secret Agent Sticky Toffee Pudding.
And I'm your other host, Rachel Van Ness, aka Agent Pannekuchen.
And we are interrogating somebody pretty fun and exciting that I'm looking forward to interrogating today. We have got on the podcast Mari Takahashi.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! I worked with her at Smosh for a while, way back when. My first producing for any digital, for any film, was a travel show that her and I worked on, where we went to Cairo. That was my first time producing, and we went to Cairo together. It was great. So I'm excited to talk to her because I know she's a traveler. Yeah, she does a lot of cool stuff. We'll get right into it, but before we get into it, let's real quick. You can follow her on Instagram, Atomic Mari, and she has a podcast, OGSoG, with a bunch of very fun people. I believe Joven, Lasercore, and a bunch of people. If you know Mari, you know her friends on there. It's great.
I haven't really met Mari, but in this podcast, everybody gets to hear the friendship really bloom.
Yes.
So that's also something to look forward to.
Yeah. All right. Without further ado, here is Mari Takahashi. Where are you these days?
Oh, I'm in Vegas.
You're in Vegas?
Yeah.
That's your Vegas house?
This is my Vegas house, and I've just moved into the office maybe a month ago, and so it's a disaster. It's a disaster at the moment.
But it's so full of potential.
There's
Yes.
so much potential. You're gonna grow up to be a beautiful baby.
Do you have big plans
office.
for that office?
I want this back wall to be a beautiful, green, kind of like this plant.
Oh, gorgeous.
Yeah, I think maybe I'm craving big trees, like California trees, because now that I'm in the desert, there's not a lot of tree coverage. Mm-hmm. And so I'm I need some green in my life. So I've got all these fake plants everywhere because I can't keep a plant alive.
Well, they're gorgeous. So, yeah. Despite being fake, they're beautiful.
Did you hear that?
I think I saw it shake.
Yeah. Mari, this has been a really fun conversation right now, but before we continue, I need to admit something to you. Rachel and I, we're not just here for fun to talk to you. We are, I've known you for a while.
Yeah.
This whole time.
Oh, this is scary. What's going on?
I know. Well, I am a secret agent for the National Travel and Tourism Office.
This whole time?
And the whole time, I have also been a secret agent for the
Two agents?
Tourism. Yep.
Yeah.
How could I have not known this whole time?
Because it's a secret agent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a secret agent, so I've been keeping it secret.
Yeah, don't take it too hard. It just means we're doing our jobs right. But the reason why we're here is because we have selected you as a subject to interrogate so we can plan your ultimate dream trip.
We're trying to work our way up. Yeah.
I've been chosen by the agency.
You've been chosen.
We have secret agent names. You can refer to us as either. My secret agent name is Sticky Toffee Pudding. It's my favorite dessert from the UK.
And my secret agent name is, Secret Agent Pannekuchen, which is a Dutch pancake. But you can call us by our aliases, Rachel and Garrett, if you're more comfortable.
Okay, by the aliases.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I will go with the aliases for the time being,
fair.
But I appreciate you telling me all of your secrets.
Yeah, we're secret agents who kind of come out with our secrets all right away, but that's because we just want to focus on the job, you know?
It's great. Yeah, you're communicative, you're open. You're a 2022 agent. I love it.
Yeah, there's a whole new vibe in the office. No secrets, openness.
Mm-hmm. Much better for mental health, honestly. I can't imagine the stress of keeping something like that.
Yes. this whole time I've been like, I've been hiding from people, and it's just nice to be out in the open.
Yeah.
I'm glad for all of us.
Yeah. You're taking this so well. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to process a little bit, but for the time being, I'm feeling good.
Well, so like Rachel said, we are going to interrogate you. But that's just, a term, interrogate. I feel like interrogation has like such a negative comment.
We're kind of trying to take back the word interrogation and make it mean something like fun and happy and joyful.
By the end of this, I'm just going to be like, where's my weekly interrogation?
Yep.
Exactly. That's what we're hoping for.
Wonderful.
So we're going to interrogate you on your previous travel, your previous trips, and using that, we are going to, this is an exercise for us to develop a dream trip for you. We each are going to give you a dream trip. We're going to both pitch you on one. And at the end, you decide whose you like best, which one you want to go on. And, if we ever make it up to the top, maybe we'll be able to send you on that trip. But right now, it's not going to happen. But yeah, right now, go ahead.
I'll remember that as a promise. It's now recorded, so.
A potential promise. A
PP, as we call it in the biz.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, a PP.
Yeah.
All right, Mari, are you ready to be interrogated?
I'm really excited for the interrogation. You've really hyped it up as something that I'm going to enjoy. So
yes,
good.
I hope so. Okay, Mari, what is your travel style? Do you prefer to wing it, see where the wind takes you? Are you a meticulous planner? Are you somewhere in between? Yeah, how do you do it?
I like to think of it as like having like I don't know, like flag poles. Like I'm meticulous in the sense of like I need to know where I'm sleeping that night.
Totally.
So that I would say is always planned, and then after that, I am not the type of person who wants to have every hour of the day planned out. But I like to be like, maybe this for lunch, or we'll find something on the way. And then maybe like one thing that is the touristy thing. But if I don't make it, I'm also kind of like, it's fine. Or I see it in the distance and that's good enough. Yeah, I like a mixture.
Have you done either one of those, like to the extreme where it's just like no plans, or the other way where every hour was planned? And
I've definitely done the every hour is planned, because I went on a tour of Japan not too long ago, maybe like 17 I did that. And that was with a tour guide. And every day, every hour, every thing that we saw was completely planned. Honestly, it wasn't awful. It was kind of nice to have somebody else just take the reins.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. It was never a moment where I'm just like, oh man, this is a bummer. Only when you had to leave a certain place. And I'm like, I don't want to spend a couple more hours there.
That's also hard to, I don't know how your tour was structured, but I feel like I always book these things thinking I'll be able to pay attention for 12 hours. And by hour 4, I'm just like sitting on the bus and zoning out. Like I have nothing left to give. And I feel like that's what's hard about those tours too, is like you've still got like 8 hours to go, but your brain is just like way, way back behind the bus.
Agreed. There are moments where you're just like, I just need like a cafe break, or like go get coffee and just kind of chill out. That sort of thing. So I don't think I would ever do that again.
Yeah, glad we tried it.
Yeah, glad it was a trial. And then on the other opposite of the spectrum, I think the person that I've traveled with who goes with zero plans almost always is actually Ian. And he's a really good counterpart travel partner. Me and Peter have traveled with Ian multiple times to different places, and it's like he'll find the best spots, and it's not planned. So I think I don't have quite the radar of finding all the best spots all the time, and just having kind of like this place might be nice. I don't have a great radar. I would say it's like a 70-30 mixture for me.
Yeah, it sounds like Ian's like a little experiential truffle pig. He can just sniff those things out.
Honestly, I think it's because he's such a hipster. He just kind of has like a tuning fork for it.
Yes.
I feel like being a hipster traveling, there are like telltale signs that you're gonna like something. There's like a way a place is decorated, or the way the people in the place look, the way they dress. Like like as a hipster,
interesting.
It's easy to kind of like. This is just a theory I'm making up on the fly. I might report this to my higher ups, the national tourism.
But I'm glad that you're claiming being a hipster, because that's very big for you.
I think you're right, though. I think there is like a certain like style and vibe that I don't know, like you recognize it when you see it, and there's probably some barometer of like style or like an artistic sort of thing. When you see it, you know it. It's very like Malcolm Gladwell, right? Where it's just like it's just a gut feeling, when you know.
Although it's hard if your vibe is like, I want to sit down. That's where like my vibe gets in the way, and I'm like, just anywhere. And then
just anywhere.
Rachel's a very tired traveler.
I'm realizing I just sound exhausted today.
I do think like hipster traveling, I don't know. I do think I am proud to be a hipster, because I think hipsters are usually passionate about something. Like I'll ask, I like to, when I travel, ask the baristas where to eat, because they usually have the same, they have as much money as I do, so they're going to suggest an affordable place that's still really good. But because they're passionate about coffee, they're also probably passionate about food as well.
That's just like a cool tip.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten a wreck where you're like, this place was dog shit, that barista wasn't hipster after all?
I feel like I have, but those I just forget about.
Yeah, you just black it out.
The ones that worked for me were like Berlin and Pittsburgh and like a few others.
I think that's also a good trick for traveling too. You just black out the moments where you're just like, that didn't, that wasn't a great thing. And then you don't have any like built up scar tissue.
Yeah.
Around
I
traveling.
love that. I have this little trick where I black out my memory.
Well, it's just remembering the positive ones.
Yeah. But no, I like it.
Yeah.
I tease.
I agree, though. Like, I don't know. The trip is always going to be a mixed bag. And, it's going to be as fun as you want it to be.
Agreed.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask, Mari, do you prefer to travel solo or with a group, or like with like how big of a group we talking if we're talking a group?
Oh, that's a good question. I haven't solo traveled for an extended period of time for like a really long time, probably since like 2010 or 2011. And I don't hate it, except for the moments where it's scary. Sometimes it's scary traveling by yourself as a woman, and that sucks. And then there's other moments where you get to be so quiet and in your thoughts, and it's you wouldn't trade it for the world. I think I love like 4, including myself. 4 people travel, like a couple, like me and my husband Peter and another couple. Like I love that kind of traveling. I think anything over, I would say maybe over 6 or 7 gets really
unwieldy.
Kind of, yeah.
Octopussy, as your motion suggests.
although after our wedding, I think we traveled around with like maybe like 8 couples total, maybe something like that. But because it was a train system and a subway system all the way around, you didn't have to go get Ubers and stuff like that. It made it a lot more easy. So I think it really depends on the country you're going to.
Yeah. So is that part of why you like 4 is because it's
can fit in a car.
Administratively easier to deal with in a place.
I think so. And then you don't have the chain of like telling one person one thing and then someone's dropping out in, focus. Usually I'm kind of either the one goofing off and dropping off in conversation and focus, or I'm the one trying to wrangle. And either side of the coin, it's not fun because I'm not being fun for the person trying to wrangle. And then if I'm trying to wrangle, I'm in a horrible mood.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, so somebody has to be the teacher. And
yes,
usually it's not very fun being the teacher.
No, but we have to respect the teacher.
Yeah. Garrett, you were our teacher in Egypt.
You
were fantastic at it.
Yeah, I feel like we have a similar travel style because it was like you, me, and our DP Billy kind of going out after rapping each day, hanging out,
being adventurous,
exploring, being a little adventure crew.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
But yes, I was the producer, so I was the one that had to get everybody permission slips from their parents and make sure everybody was behaving and
getting on the bus.
Getting on the bus and not going out to party with our fixer in the evening.
That's right. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Was he insistent? Or she?
He really he wanted to party.
Yeah. Can't blame
he was
him.
Great.
He lived
great.
that party life.
Yeah, who can blame him?
So, Mari, do you enjoy the act of traveling? How do you feel about airports, train stations, trains, airplanes, road trips? Like movement.
I love it. And I love just kind of like, even from the moment of like the grogginess of waking up early in the morning for a flight that's way too early, getting there, even like rushing in an airport, all the stuff that is like demonized about travel. I still love all of that stuff.
A kid kicking the back of your seat.
It's all part of it. I know what it is.
Incredible.
I still enjoy it. And it's not so much of like, because it could be a teachable moment or anything like that. I don't know. There's something exciting about it being different from the day to day. So it's not that I invite all the chaos in, but if it happens, I just know that there's other moments and lulls of like the roller coaster ride that I can anticipate for later that doesn't really bother me when it gets chaotic. But I will say, I don't want to be on an airplane post-pandemic. And like, I never used to back down from being on an airplane. But now if it's like close enough, I'm like, I'll just drive. Like,
yeah, it's hard now. It's like, I get so claustrophobic sitting in my mask. And like, it's hard to breathe. And it's just like.
Well, I used to wear masks before the pandemic on the airplane. I used to rock that like from Japanese culture, and going there so often, I would bring that back with me. And pre-pandemic, I mean, people would be like really weirded out by it. But I also got this it looks like a respirator. It looks so hardcore. But it's supposed to be for like opera singers and musicians, or like singers, because it keeps the moisture in. So it's better for like your esophagus and stuff. And so I got that. And Peter and I would both wear it, and people would be like, not sitting next to these folks. But I did feel much better having like that respirator thing.
Well, and you came off of the plane with a gorgeous solo.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Operatic voice right here.
Yes.
I feel like everybody we're interviewing, though, it has been like, there's I travel differently now, though I feel different about the way of I remember loving, being on an airplane. Now, not so much.
I was even watching Top Chef yesterday, and I had a moment of panic when a guy was like going outside. I'm like, oh my God, he forgot his mask. And then I was like, this is Top Chef and was filmed in 2016.
Yeah. We were watching it on the flight back yesterday from Portland back to LA. And I still get those panics too, but it's like a little shot of adrenaline.
Yeah. I don't know. I also feel like for the first time in like I don't know, in a very long time. I'm like, I don't trust the science of airplanes anymore, and it's so strange. Like, there's no reason for me to think that way.
Like the science of them being in the air.
Yeah. And
fighting
like
gravity.
And like I've gone through really, really crazy turbulence.
Yeah.
Like people like screaming hallelujah as soon as we landed type of turbulence. And I would sleep through it. I'd be like, it's fine. It's like the chances of things going wrong because of that versus like an engine failure is so minimal. So I just chill out and I just sleep. Now I've got anxiety like going on an airplane. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe airplanes have changed. Maybe they feel different after the pandemic, and maybe they don't want to be in the air.
Maybe the rising temperatures, the climate change, it's going to get rid of the ability for planes to be up in this sky.
I like the idea that the planes, like us, had a break. And now they're just like, nah, I kind of have a work-life balance now. I want to stay in the hangar with my plane family.
Yes.
But that was now, and we want to talk about then. And that's how I'm segueing flawlessly into this next question, which is, what was the first trip that turned you on to travel?
Oh, that's such a good question. I think I like my parents would take me to Japan all the time when I was a kid, once every summer. And to me, it wasn't like, it didn't feel like travel. But one time I flew to Japan by myself, and I think I was like 7 years old.
Oh, wow.
Did you have like the little like plaque and the
did.
flight attendant taking care of you?
And I got this like picture with like the flight attendant. It's the cutest thing. But I think that I found like some sort of like independence when I was like a little kid, because I remember a flight attendant met me at the airport as soon as I got off, and then they escorted me to the person who was picking me up. And I don't know, it was like I had my chimpanzee stuffed animal, and I just remember like really like walking with some authority as a
chimpanzee
little
businesswoman.
Yeah. And that summer I
awesome.
stayed with my grandmother, who owns a farm in northern Japan. It's kind of like the south of Japan, so like people are really just like low key. It's beautiful and green, like Miyazaki type forests out there. And the whole summer all I did was like pick cucumbers and collect frogs, like little green frogs in the greenhouse. And like it was a really memorable summer. I really loved that summer.
Was it like your first like independent, like you got a sense of what independence is, like away from your parents, like this flight by yourself, like you're going out in the the fields, like picking cucumbers by yourself, I assume.
I wasn't cognizant of it,
sure,
but I think it probably planted the seed for many, many, many years of like, I just like to get out there. But I think as an adult, it was really when I started to travel by myself. And I didn't start doing that until I was 25. That's when I was like, I'm rebelling and I'm going to start doing this on my own. That's when I really started to fall in love with like going out by myself again. I guess there is a thread of independence there.
Well, and there's something really empowering about traveling by yourself. Being like, I booked the flight. I knew how to get from the airport to the like Airbnb. I picked out all my places. I'm navigating a city, and often without like a map.
Agreed.
Yeah. It's the few times I've traveled by myself. Every time I'm like, I'm alone and I want somebody to talk to. But then similarly, I'm also like, look at me eating in a restaurant by myself. I feel so cool.
Yeah. I love like the solo restaurants and the solo like going to the cafe and reading for a long time and stuff like that. Yeah. It's good times.
My first like big solo trip was also similarly like an act of rebellion. I was like I turned 29 and was like, I'm done with this. I'd saved up money and I was going to use it responsibly, but I used it to travel.
Same.
Yeah.
I blew my entire life savings
Yep.
in 1 year of traveling.
Yep.
Amazing. Where did you go?
And that first year I went to Japan. And on the flight back, I sat next to probably a 7-year-old who was traveling alone, and that was after 6 weeks in Japan, that was like the first full conversation I could hold. While in Japan, I'd studied Japanese, but I was like trying, getting by. But then next to that, sitting next to that 7-year-old, I was able to have a whole conversation.
That is
you guys
so
just
cool.
Yeah.
Talked about poop and farts the whole time.
Yes. I also went to India, I went to Australia, I went to Nepal, I went to Thailand. I did Asia that trip.
You did India, Nepal? India to Nepal?
Yes.
Oh, I've always wanted to do that. Oh.
It's incredible. I stayed all in the north, so I was in the Himalayas the whole time.
That's so cool.
Mari, where did you go?
Well, this might be our next question.
Oh.
Okay. If it's
which
not,
is
we'll follow
tell
up.
us a story about your best trip.
Okay.
Is this that same trip?
I think so. Yeah. Okay. So it was I would say maybe November of 2009. I was sitting at the bar that I worked at. And I only worked on Sundays and Mondays, which are the quietest nights. And all of the theater people would come in on Sundays after they wrapped their theater shows, and then they'd come in and play Magic. And so they were all just like my theater friends. And so it was the best nights to bartend. And I had a really good friend named Michelle, and her brother owns a expedition company called Alpenglow, and she was talking about a trip that she wants to do, going to Kenya and Tanzania to climb Kilimanjaro. And she was, I think, almost a decade older than I am, and she's like this real punk rock sort of she was a school teacher, but she was also like a single mother, and she's just really, really kind of
badass.
Yeah, such a badass, and just really allowed me to open up who I am, just because she was just like, go do it. She's like, yeah, she really encouraged me. And so she was planning this trip, and I went with her. At that moment, awesome. I was dancing full-time as a ballerina, which meant that I shouldn't do anything dangerous. It's in my contracts to be no motorcycles, no scuba diving, no extensive things that could harm your body. And I'm like, I've had contracts like this for my entire adult life. I'm like, fuck it. Sorry, I swore.
No, we loved it.
Our supervisors don't listen. Okay. They just listen to the end part, so.
And so I threw down a ton of cash. I wasn't even a hiker at that point, and went on this trip, and it was the best time. I think it yes, independence, yes, exploring, yes, being in a new country, but more than anything, it was quiet time, just hiking for very, very long periods of time every single day. And yeah, it was the best.
How long was the hike up Kilimanjaro?
I want to say we were out there for 12 days, but then the hike itself was maybe 6 or 7 days, something like that.
I was going to say, too, there's something so special about finding, the badass lady you want to be, and then getting to spend time with her, where I relate to that feeling of, how do I just kind of, absorb everything that you're doing that is so cool, and how do I do that?
Totally.
I worked for one of these types of ladies, and she showed me how to order a drink at a bar, how to properly do it, and I thought it was so cool. yeah. I mean, it's I think that, especially at that point in my life, I wasn't ready to try to reach out for a mentor, or email someone and be like, will you mentor me? But she really swooped in, and she was such a, I don't know, she melted down all my walls, and she built me back up, and yeah. That's
so cool.
Do you still keep in touch with her?
Very, very minimally. We're on such different planets now, but But yeah, minimally. Yeah.
What were we going to say?
I forgot. That's okay though.
Oh, sorry.
Wait, will it come back? Oh yeah, I feel like it's the type of thing where it's also like we talk about getting mentors in our careers a lot, but I feel like every woman is secretly looking for her like badass bitch mentor to kind of take you under her wing.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what it is. Maybe I feel like is it harder for women to ask for mentors? I don't know. I feel like we're all really ready.
We're all so ready. But I feel like there can be, I mean, this is a different conversation, but I feel like there can be some like weird generational stuff that happens that can make it like, because women are always taught to see each other as competition. So not only do you have to find this badass lady, but you also have to find one that wants to take on a mentee. And that can be kind of difficult sometimes. So
Agreed.
When you do find her, hell yeah.
Yeah. Powerful stuff.
How long total was that trip?
I think I want to say it was like 12 days because we did the climb with plenty of like acclimation. We really took our time because Kili is it's one of the 7 summits, but it's regarded as like the easiest, even though it's like 19,000 plus feet. It's like the easiest of all the hikes because it really truly is a hike. It's beautiful because you go through all these different terrain and all different biomes. You see desert, you see like lush forest, and then you see snow. I snow camped for the first time on that trip too, and the summit was kind of gnarly. I don't remember it fully. I think I blacked out in parts just because of like the lack of air.
Yeah, at 19,000 feet.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting, but I have the photo of me, so I know I did it.
Okay.
And did your life change a lot after that trip, though? Like, did you feel like you walked away from it? Like, did you blow anything up?
Absolutely. I was a completely different person after that. Because it immediately, like 2010 is one of these years where I think I will always remember it as the year that like chapter done, new chapter, completely different book now. Like it was bananas. I came back and I am like, okay, I want to start doing more intense climbs. I want to do ice climbing. So I went into rock climbing. That's where I met my then boyfriend, now husband, Peter.
Hey.
And then I went on a bunch of other trips after that. Like I went to Switzerland to coach one of my students who was competing at this like really, really intense ballet competition. And then after it was wrapped and done, and she did great, by the way. She's awesome. She's a pro now.
And you were her mentor. Beautiful.
I went to Chamonix by myself just to ski for a few days. And that was another moment where I was just like absorbing all these like expats who were there and like people who like were telling me about how they like ran away from their like corporate lives and now they live in this like cabin in the mountains. And I think I was just listening and being like, whoa, how can life be so different, you know? And I started to like see a completely different way. It's the year where I also found Smosh out of nowhere, you know? And I think that also took me on a completely different trajectory than I was going. 2010 was wild. Between Smosh, Peter, and starting to travel, my life would not be anywhere where I am without that year.
It's the year you became yourself.
Yeah.
Damn.
Pretty wild. But I think it's all because of Michelle and it's all because of that trip.
Yeah.
That's so cool because there aren't many times in your life where you can directly point at it and be like, that is where it completely pivoted in a completely different direction. And for it to change in just like 12 days is nuts.
Yeah. It's you just never know. You never know. Yeah, I have this saying, it's show up and don't be an asshole. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it like comes back in so many different ways. And like show up just could mean like physically. It could also mean like showing up for yourself or, you know, showing up for the people around you or whatever it is. But like, man, if you make yourself available to just things and then you stay open about it, you never know.
And people like being around you.
I'm sure that helps.
Yeah, but because I really do think travel, can have that huge effect. I don't think it like necessarily makes you a different person. I think it uncovers and like you can use it to build like who you want to be and who you are. But it's like all that stuff is there, or you want to add it, and you can traveling is like a great way to uncover it or build that.
Totally.
Yeah.
You just like scraped at my memory brain and I remembered something. I think one of the reasons why I even was hired with Smosh is because I had really strange stories to tell, and it's because of travel. They said, what's the weirdest thing you've eaten? And I said guinea pig, because I had just come back from Peru and Bolivia, and in Peru I was going to Cuyadias, and having like guinea pig, and that was such a direct link to their fan base because Charlie the guinea pig was like a big part of the Smosh fandom, and like it was such an outrageous answer, but it wouldn't have happened if I just wasn't, experiencing and becoming like a whole person.
That actually leads us into the next question. Maybe the answer is the same, maybe it's different, but what's the tastiest thing you've eaten on a trip?
Oh, I love this question, because when I was thinking of the answer, I typed and erased a bunch of things, and then a memory came to mind, and I was like, oh my God, it made my mouth water.
A Ratatouille moment.
Yeah, a straight up Ratatouille moment, which is so beautiful. It goes. I think I was in maybe like 6th or 7th grade. My brother and I spent the entire summer in our great uncle's flat in Tokyo. And we went and hiked Mount Fuji. My brother, who's like 9 years older than I am, he had a great time. I had a miserable time. I didn't have the right clothes because we were there for the summer, and Mount Fuji gets very cold. So I remember I had to borrow these really ugly sweaters from my great aunt, and they would just pack on more and more sweaters, and they're like, you'll be warm enough. I was not warm enough. You summit at like 2 in the morning. You start the summit at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and so that you can summit at 6 in the morning. And I remember the summit push is like this switchback back and forth. And it's really beautiful if you look at it from a distance, because all of us like carry these like lanterns, if I remember.
Yes.
So you see these like all these like lines, zigzag lines. Yeah. But me being a kid, I was so freaking sleepy that I remember I was walking in a straight line with my eyes closed, and my brother had to literally like catch me on the back of my jacket from not falling because I didn't switch back. And so I think about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, my brother is not responsible enough as like an 18-year-old or whatever to be like to have me as a minor, and under his wing, and then he, at the same time, I'm like, you're my hero. So that was a really cool moment. But as soon as you summit, it's 6 in the morning, everyone's dead tired, the sun's coming up, you're at the top of the mountain, and there are these little huts where you can sleep in and also order these beef bowls, gyudon. And like, I remember my brother and I ordering this, and we're so cold. I remember like our faces were so cold. But this beef bowl was just the best. My mouth is watering thinking about it, and I don't even eat beef anymore. It was just the best, because it's like when you're so tired, and you have a bit of comfort food, it just feels like a great big hug. And I think that's what it was for me. That's the best.
So good.
One of my most memorable meals, I don't even remember the name of the restaurant, but it was a bad Mexican restaurant in the Rockies, but I just summited Mount Massive in the Rockies, which is like, one of the 14ers in the lower 48, it's a big mountain. But it was like, because I had done this giant hike that day, it was an incredible meal. Yeah. And like going back, I went back and it was awful. It was like, so good in that moment.
It's like the hot chocolate you get after a ski run.
Yes.
And it's just the regular Nestle with like watered down. They don't even use
clumps
milk, but
of
it's
chocolate.
Just so
Yeah.
good. Yeah, food is so important. Peter and I have been watching Alone, the reality TV show.
Oh,
and so if you don't know the show, 10 like survivalists slash like bushcraft wilderness folks are dropped off in the middle of nowhere, and they have to survive for as long as possible, and they go through bouts of like starvation if they are not getting food. But you see the mood swings when they don't have food, and it's really abrupt. Like they're like on the brink of giving up, and they get like a mealworm, and then they're on a high again. But I'm like, yeah, I go through that on a daily basis. If I'm like a couple hours late for my own lunch, then I feel like it's the end of the world.
Yeah, I traveled to a country that they didn't really have any vegetarian food, Mali, and like it was amazing, but it was so hard for me just because I wasn't eating, amazing food.
Yeah.
I was, it was like there's very few veggie options, and so it just was hard for me to enjoy that trip.
Yeah. I remember Iceland.
Are you a food-based? Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I remember Iceland being like awesome, beautiful, gorgeous, cool, but the food being like the last on the rank of like what's awesome about that place. But understandable. It's like
Although in Iceland, I had one of the best pizzas I've ever had.
Oh yeah,
and it
really?
which is shocking. It was this pizza where they put like roasted like little potatoes on it, and then a ton of arugula, and then this like cream cheese drizzle on top. And it was so good. And I've been chasing potato pizza, every pizza since, and it's just never at that level. It's like so disappointing. But maybe it's like, I think that's what's so hard about recreating food experiences is like the experience prior is part of the food experience.
Yeah.
Like 100%. It dictates how good it is. So
Yep.
just have to enjoy it from the memory bank, I guess.
In general, Mari, are you a food-based traveler? Do you go to places because you know there's going to be good food there?
Not necessarily. I don't think it's like my number one thing, but if I am wherever I go, I want to eat what the meal is there. So I don't eat red meat when I'm at home, but if I travel somewhere and it's like the dish, then I will have it. So in that sense, I guess I'm a travel eater in that sense. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, food's important. I think there's good food everywhere though. Like even in Iceland, like it was still like down here, but what I really liked about it was that everything was like locally sourced and really fresh, and they were so mindful of the food.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Mari, in all your travels, is there a tourist attraction that actually lived up to the hype?
Oh, hell yeah. This one's like recent too.
Wow.
It's Yellowstone.
Hell yeah. Right in our backyard.
Oh, my gosh.
In Wyoming? Yellowstone?
Yeah. That place is absolutely banger. So going in, we went this year when all the flooding, like right after all the flooding happened. Our plans were for 4th of July weekend, which is supposed to be like one of the most populated times. But the floods happened. We almost were going to cancel. I was really bullish on like canceling the trip. But my mom, who put the trip together almost a full year ago, was like, we are going no matter what. Like she was like really like mama bearing it. Because it was me and Peter, my parents, my brother and his wife, and their 2 kids. And so it was this like big family thing that we haven't done in a really long time. So she was really, really adamant that we go. And I'm so glad that we did. There weren't a lot of people because a lot of people canceled their plans. So going in, I thought I would see maybe, I don't know, like 10 animals, like wild animals. I saw hundreds.
Yeah.
In droves. And it was like Jurassic Park every single moment.
What were the star animals of that?
Yeah.
Because it's almost like you had a Lewis and Clark moment where you're like, oh, this is what it this is what it looked like before Westerners came in and ruined everything.
Yeah. There, very few spots feel like that until you look around and you're like, oh, there's like 8 vans around you and there's like 50 people just around you.
Yes.
Yeah.
The star's got to be the bison. Also,
Ooh.
I have been calling bison buffalo my entire life, and I think most people do. I didn't realize this.
Is there a difference, or what is the difference?
They're totally different. And if you look at a buffalo, you'll be like, oh, yeah, I guess that's what a buffalo is. A buffalo has like wider horns, and they're more kind of like the water buffaloes that you think of.
Oh, yeah.
And then everything you think of a buffalo, like Buffalo Wild Wings, the icon for it. If you think of like CU Boulder, like Colorado, like they're also the buffs. Those are both bison. They're not buffalo. We've been calling them the wrong thing the whole time.
Man, that's fucked up. But
Isn't
I'm
that
glad I know now.
weird?
Because I was always wondering the difference, and I think my brain had edited it to be like, well, part of the U.S. there are buffalo, and the other half there are bison. And I just don't know who goes where. But turns out they're all bison.
They're all bison. But,
Dang.
it sounds cooler to say buffalo. Like, I don't know. Bison, wild
I always
wings?
thought it was. I always thought it was like soda and pop.
Yeah.
One part of the country calls the same thing soda. One part of the country calls the same thing pop.
Yeah, no, they're totally different.
Damn.
Man.
They're totally different. Yeah.
So
Did you see any bears?
Yeah. I saw black bears. I saw a grizzly.
What?
Yeah, with her cubs. I mean, it was wild. Like I saw bears. The only thing I didn't see was wolves. So I saw moose. I saw bull elk. Bull elk are freaking huge.
Yeah.
They look like Miyazaki, like gorgeous, like towering animals. They're so cool.
where you're like, the god of the forest has arrived.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, you are wearing a crown. And then, of course, the bison. The bison were so close.
Yeah.
And they're so huge and so dangerous. They're so, like...
Yes.
Sometimes I get these random videos on Reddit of people in Yellowstone trying to like take selfies with bison and touch them and stuff like that. And every time I'm like, oh my gosh, these folks are so dumb. But then as soon as you see a bison, a part of you goes, I kind of understand it.
I gotta touch that guy. I just gotta.
Yeah.
It's because they're so docile.
Mm-hmm.
And they have really like cute faces that I'm like, I can understand why people think that they're just gonna remain like that. And then they forgot the part where they have horns and and the part where they gore people, because that's the thing. And they're huge.
That is so for you, was the biggest part of this tourist attraction the wildlife then? Like where you're like, the geysers are fine, but I'm here for the animals.
Absolutely the animals. Yeah, because it's like I do think, other than the outlier folks who kind of cross that line, the wildlife are really able to take reign of the space. And if anything, I saw rangers like scolding people for getting like in their territory. Mm-hmm. And more often than not, you don't see that anymore. It's like, we as humans are like, even though we're in their territory, we're like, we're here now, you shoo, go away. And these rangers were like, you do not go near these animals, you are in their territory. And I was like, all right,
hell yeah, tell them.
People getting scolded like children. And I was like, whoa, I wonder if these bison are like, thanks for standing up for us.
They're still super shy.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah. They just look up to those rangers, but they could never actually talk to them.
No, they have crushes.
Aww.
So, Mari, what has been your biggest fish out of water moment?
Oh, there's definitely been moments where I've been completely lost. And folks are so nice. I had a woman like walk me probably close to a mile with me in Peru. to my bus stop because I was going the wrong direction. And we barely talked. We barely talked to each other. And so there's been plenty of moments where people are so nice and I'm so lost. But I think the true moment was actually our wedding. In Japan. And not because of the marriage part.
Yeah, you're like, well, I used to be single and then all of a sudden I was married.
It's okay, so to paint the picture, Pete and I decided to have our wedding in Japan at a Shinto shrine. And Shinto is kind of an interesting like sub-religion because it's more of like a creation story. Their whole entire religion only is like Japan is the entire world for Shintoism. That's why you don't see like Shinto shrines like trying to evangelize like in different countries because they're like, y'all don't exist in our stories.
Good for them.
Isn't that interesting? That's why if you ever go to like a Buddhist shrine, you'll see that there's a Shinto shrine right next to it and they can coexist because they have completely different ideologies in the sense of like what to do with their religion. Yeah, so Pete and I were like, we don't want like a traditional US American wedding. So let's go to Japan. I don't know if either of us knew exactly what we were getting into because there's no rehearsal. The rehearsal is like they tell us verbally what's going to happen in this room about like 30 minutes before the wedding happens.
So wait, what happened?
Okay, so the cool thing is when you get ready in the morning, unlike like U.S. traditions where the bride and the groom get together or get ready separately, in Japan you get ready together. So that was pretty cool.
That's cute. I like that.
It was really, really nice. And because traditionally that's the first time that the bride and the groom usually meet, the family is like not allowed in the room. So we were barred from the family, which was really nice because there was like no stress in that sense. And then we were just chilling, getting ready together. Somebody has to help you into your kimono. The cool thing about kimono is that I didn't have to think about like dropping weight or like looking good in my kimono and stuff because they get these cylinders and stuff around you so that you're as like circular as possible. You want to look like a barrel. That's how you look good in your kimono. So they just kind of stuff little pillows so that you are as as much of a barrel figure as possible. And then for Pete, they had like little like pec like pillows like this to really fill out like so that you're like triangular. So he was like an upside down triangle, and I was a barrel. And so that you get ready. And then the ceremony itself, I was not allowed to walk into the shrine next to him. I have to walk behind him. And, it was a moment where I go, okay, do I have to? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, okay, this is a cultural thing. We'll just do it. And so
I leave my feminism at the door and I walk to get married.
The whole thing was like a feminist nightmare, but culturally I'm like,
correct.
Wow, I'm glad I can like absorb this today and not have it reverberate into my life, but I can understand that this was historically how it was. Peter said his vows in Japanese.
Whoa.
Fully in Japanese, and it's like the vows are like the Shinto vows. So he is like talking about the goddess Amaterasu, the goddess of the sun, as that's God. That's God.
Yeah.
And then all these other like Shinto gods. And then as the woman, my vows are height, and that's it.
Sweet.
Just saying yes. Say yes.
So me, the person who speaks it fluently, just says yeah. So those are our vows. No kiss, no ring exchange. We didn't do rings anyway. But and then the last part of it is you sip a little bit of sake, and then there's the bride's side where me and my family are on one side, and then the groom's side on the other side, and we're looking at each other like it's like two dinner parties. And then there's a moment where I get up and then I walk over and sit on his side, and then that's the end of the ceremony. And I'm like, bye.
Bye, family.
Bye,
I'm
family.
eating with him.
Yeah. This shrine was also, it's public and open to the public. They don't close it down for private weddings or anything like that. So there's just strangers just watching the whole time, because it's in a place where anyone visiting the shrine would like throw in money for good luck, because there's like a little like barrel for people to do so. And so we had a lot of strangers watching, to the point where they thought that we were doing a movie in there, because they saw a lot of Caucasian people, because Peter's Caucasian and his side of the family is Caucasian. It got out that Peter was Orlando Bloom, and that this was...
I can see it.
That's awesome.
So after we get out of the shrine room, we're walking around, I hear all around me, Orlando, 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 and I'm like, Orlando? And then I hear Orlando Bloom, and they're pointing at Peter, and I'm like, they think he's Orlando Bloom. And they think this is a movie. This is so wild.
And Peter's been riding that high ever since.
Yeah.
It was so strange. Yeah.
I feel like I remember when you got married, I saw photos. Were you was it the Shinto temple near the Torii gate that's in the bay?
Yeah.
That really, because that's a big spot.
Yeah.
Like it's a
total
famous,
tourist
beautiful
attraction
spot.
place. Yeah. It's called Itsukushima Shrine, and it's on Miyajima Island, which is off of the shore of Hiroshima.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was already a touristy place. But apparently our wedding of 30 people was the biggest wedding they've ever done in the history of the shrine. So
wow, and that history, that's a long
it's
history.
a long history. Yeah,
So
30
weddings
people,
are
biggest
pretty
one.
tiny there usually.
Weddings are very tiny and somber. They said that we were like the most lively people. And I'm
That
like,
is
we're
so
lively because we don't know what's going on. But in a lot of ways, like it was really, really awesome. I think because of the fact that we didn't really have a set sort of understanding of how it should be, we were able to really go with the flow, and like pretty much anything was on the table. We were happy with whatever came out of it. And so like the stress level was just like way, way, way lower.
Yeah, because you turned your wedding into an adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so smart. Okay. Next question, Mari. If you could step into any moment from your travels anytime you wished, which quintessential perfect moment would you pick?
I loved this question. I loved this question. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It painted
Thank
such
you
a
so much.
vivid moment. It is when I experienced the Aurora Borealis in Iceland. That was, okay, as a natural phenomenon, that thing is like wild. Like, for the first time, I was like, oh, this is why Vikings were talking about rainbow bridges. All of it makes sense now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that shit is wild. I haven't done psychedelics before, but I imagine that the wowness is like that. Yeah, that the just the natural spectacle of it was so fantastic and so wonderful. I like to say that it's kind of like if you could imagine yourself sitting underneath like a glass table and someone just puts paints on top of like the table and they start painting over it and you're just underneath it sitting. That's what it felt like. I'm like, whoa, okay, yeah, this is why.
Where in Iceland were you? Where did you get to experience it?
Okay, so this was a trip with me, Peter, Joven, and Joven's wife, Kate. Joven and I have worked together at Smosh Games for like the past, 10 years or so.
He came with us to
And
Egypt.
he came with us to Egypt, yes.
He did not come with us after rap?
Not an adventurer, that man.
Not one of the adventurers.
He got thrown off of a horse on this Iceland trip. That's another moment. That may be another
you
moment
don't want
that
to
I
sit in
step
that
into.
moment? Yeah.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I see it vividly of him falling off that horse. And the horses in Iceland are kind of like
they're so cool.
Yeah, they're like smaller and like fluffier. They're so cool.
They're like sturdy. They're kind of like what dwarves are to elves.
Yes. Yes, they're like little short kings. I love them. Yeah, they're so cool. But okay, so we rented this Airbnb, and Jovin's wife Kate kind of set up like our whole itinerary, and she found this Airbnb in the middle of nowhere. I think we could see like maybe another house like way in the distance. And it was like I think it was our last night there. And we hadn't seen the Aurora Borealis the entire time that we were there. And we're probably there for like, I don't know, maybe 10 days or so. And so we're chilling. Me and Kate are chilling in the jacuzzi. The guys are inside. And all of a sudden, it just starts. It's like a show where the curtain goes, wah! And then it's like this like show that happens. And so we start freaking out. The guys are coming out. And what was cool was that because me and Kate were in the jacuzzi, even though it was really cold outside, we were just sitting with our legs out and sitting like out on the jacuzzi and just watching it. And I remember like the heat just like coming off of our bodies. I felt invincible in that moment because I was like, the cold cannot stop me. I'm watching this thing happen. It was so neat.
This is my dream. This is I have gone to Iceland many times, and I've always wanted to sit in a hot pool of water and watch the Aurora Borealis. And I've seen the Aurora Borealis in Iceland. I've sat in hot pools of water in Iceland. I've never done them both together, and that is what I want. That is all I want.
Do you often call jacuzzis hot pools of water?
Well, because in Iceland, there's so many variations.
Oh yeah, you're right.
On it. Some of them are just like, a hole in the ground with hot water bubbling up, and
this is true. This is true. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so so it's more general. Like I'll sit in a jacuzzi. I'll sit in a natural hot spring.
Even the runoff of a hot spring, as long as if it's just a pool of water.
And it's warm.
Yeah,
important.
Exactly. And it's hot. It's a hot pool of water.
My sister's seen the Aurora Borealis. She lives in Alaska. And she said, too, that, like, hearing the crackling is so surreal. Did you hear the crackle?
No, I don't know. I don't think I remember the crackle.
I've heard the very first time I saw it, I was in the northernmost part of Scotland. And it was like a tingling sound. It was like... Ting,
I don't remember that.
It was incredible.
Maybe we were just too loud. We were just like, do you see it? Beautiful! It was like...
What? Joven was loud?
It's like everyone when they see fireworks, they're like, "Did you see that one?" It's like, "Yes, of course. We're all looking at the same thing."
I did love what you said though about like being like, "Oh, I can see why like Norse mythology is the way it is." Like it's so cool that like being in a place helps you understand like the mythologies and the stories that they tell because you just see how like the nature so influenced like why people would think magic was possible, like
totally.
I've been to Iceland once and I totally felt that way where I was like, I feel like I'm on another planet where everything is just like sparkling all the time.
Yeah.
Because it was just always golden hour. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Like legit, like believing in fairies. And I'm like, yeah, yes. Of course. I can see
you
that.
would.
Yeah.
I love it there.
So, Mari, is there a local custom you've observed while traveling that you've implemented or wish you'd implemented into your daily life?
This was a hard question.
It is a hard one.
It is hard. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't be asking.
No. I think it's good. But later on, I realized like, oh, you know what? Pete and I were really adamant about getting Japanese toilets. And that was that was the thing. When we finally bought our house, we were like, what do we want?
Yeah.
Japanese toilet. Or
So
like,
tell us all
I
about
want
this
that too.
toilet.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like a really advanced toilet. Like if regular toilets were like a Nokia from like 2001, this is like an iPhone 13 Plus. Are we
Incredible
on the 13?
description.
I don't know.
What games do you have on your toilet?
Oh, far more than Snake.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have the toilet that sings. There's ones where it plays music so that you have a little bit of privacy, which I always think is really cute. But it's the one with air, and then it's got butt spray, and it's got the seat warming. And I think it's the seat warming for me, which is like,
Yeah.
that's the pinnacle of like, you know what, we're taking care of you. It feels real nice. It feels real nice. And then I think it's moments where it's like early in the morning when you don't want to wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when like a warm seat, I don't know, it just makes you feel secure for the rest of the day. You feel like things aren't gonna like attack you. They're like
Taken care of.
Yeah, the rest of the world isn't
Yeah.
gonna like come biting at you. You have the faith that things are gonna be like working for you and with you.
Honestly, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful to think that like I think it's nice because it's like an intimate experience where your toilet can give you something back.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like every time you go and plug in your phone, imagine it just plugs in the first time every time. A USB just plugs in every time the first time. That's how you're left every time you sit on a warm toilet. You're like,
Beautiful.
thanks for this synergy.
I know. Are you sure you don't want your travel moment to return to just be sitting on a warm toilet?
On the first thing in the
First
morning.
thing in the morning. Well, I guess that moment was so good you just recreated it, so you could actually
I had to
revisit
recreate it. I had to recreate
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. Mari, we have one more set of questions. This is the lightning round.
Awesome.
Before we take a second to tabulate what we think your dream trips would be. So we're just going to ask a series of either or questions, and the first answer that comes to your head. Just
Okay.
ready? All right. Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Hot or cold?
Hot.
City or country?
Country.
Beer or wine?
Neither.
Fair.
Yep.
History or scene?
Oh, history.
Clubs or cafes?
Cafes.
Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Fancy or casual?
Casual.
Fast or slow?
Sheesh, that's a hard one. That's a
Medium?
hard one. Medium.
Medium. Dogs or cats or cows or monkeys?
Cows.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Okay.
Pete and I went to a place called The Farm in Vegas recently, and it's so cute. We saw some cows.
Oh,
Is it like a nice little, like, you can go and see all these
Yeah, it's a little sanctuary.
animals and sanctuary?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. I think I
you
I
go
think I have the
first.
general
'cause
idea.
I'm
You need a
you know, the
second?
funny thing is, I was going into this. I was like, I'll send Mari to Peru to do the Salcante Trail, the Incan Trail, and then you talked about eating it. The second you mentioned that you had eaten a guinea pig, I was like, oh no, there it goes. So I'm almost just like at a loss to pick somewhere you haven't been. So I'm gonna noodle over here.
Okay.
I just need a couple seconds to kind of like refresh my memory.
This is so
on
cool. This is like what is it? What's popular right now? Like geolocator or something?
Geocaching.
The game
Yeah.
where you are given like a Google Map image of from the spot, and you try to figure out where it is.
Exactly. There's these Twitch streamers who basically, so you get like a snapshot image of a place in the world, and then you try to get as close as possible to where that location is.
Yep. I love those games.
It's really fascinating how good some people are.
I think I have I think I know what I'm gonna do. So do you want me to go or do you want to go?
If you have it, I just need to remind myself. I'm trying to remember a couple of details.
Okay.
So if you have it.
I'm going to do my best. It's going to be a little vague, but here we go. Mari.
I'm excited.
I know you're a woman of the world and that you love nature and that you also do ice climbing, which is very cool. So I would like to send you to Argentina. Have you been there before?
I haven't.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So in Argentina, I'm going to give you like the nature tour. So there you can do, it's called I believe it's called the W Trek, where you hike around Patagonia and you see the most beautiful, crazy Andes mountains. And it's also known for its ice climbing. So you can also go ice climbing there. As far as nature goes, animals you might see, the one I'm most excited about is the pink fairy armadillo. It's the world's smallest armadillo. It's only about 6 inches long, and it's pink. It's really
I have to look this up.
You have to look it up. It's so cute. But there's also a lot of other wildlife. You'll see the Patagonian hare, which is also worth a look up because it does not look like a rabbit, but actually looks a little more like a deer and a rabbit combined.
Oh my goodness. I just love it for the pink fairy armadillo itself.
I know.
Oh my gosh, it looks like a little rodent with pink armor.
I know. I couldn't believe it was real. I was like, this is a little Pokemon, and to think he's only 6 inches big. It's so cute.
Oh
so
my goodness.
that'll be like, you'll do the W Trek, but you'll also go more inland to the desert and sand dunes where that little armadillo's hanging out. But while you're doing the W Trek and you're up in the Andes mountain range, I am going to arrange for famous Argentinian chef Francis Malman to go with you. He has a chef's table episode, but he's known for using local ingredients and cooking out in these like cool wood stoves and stuff. He's definitely a man of nature, so you will have him with you. And I forgot to mention, you're doing all of this like maybe a combination of alone or you and Peter and another couple doing it together. But I will say for the trek, at least, it's only people who want to be there on the trek.
I love it.
Because that's a vibe. Yeah, so you'll also visit, of course, Buenos Aires, which has a lot of amazing food, and you can also go out for a night of tango since you're a dancer. I know it's a little different, but it would be fucking awesome.
Oh my gosh.
You'll also visit at the southern end of Argentina is a place called Ushuaia, and it's called the end of the world. And what I'm seeing is that I don't know, it's
of the world.
Yeah. It's very beautiful. There are lots of boats and beautiful mountains. I'm like stretching here, so I'm gonna wrap it up. But basically what I'm proposing is I'm gonna give you like 3 to 4 weeks in Argentina, a combination of alone or with a group of 4, the W Trek, the sand dunes, some time in the city of Buenos Aires, and really amazing food from that chef. And that is the trip I'm offering to you.
I'm so excited for this trip. You nailed it. That's so cool.
Thank you. And the one thing I forgot to mention is that I'm going to fly you there on I think on a private jet. So you can be at ease as far as you have space. Everybody's been tested for COVID. It's very comfortable and like pretty deserted. So that's also, I just wanted to clarify that to get you there is non-stressful as well.
You've covered all the bases. Also, by the way, the end of the world place is gorgeous.
It looks insane.
Wow.
And if you look up, let me make sure W Trek.
Ushuaia?
Yeah.
Wow.
If you look up W Trek
I've always wanted
Argentina,
to go.
you will also see what those mountains look like, because what I've always been really fascinated by is how the Andes Mountains in this particular area look like shards of rock. It is so cool. It's called the Torres del Paine.
Wow.
So that's
you nailed it. You got some stiff competition, Garrett.
She tried.
Oh man. Okay. So Mari. Here is what I'm offering you, and this will just be you and Pete, because I think, you know what, I will allow Ian and whoever he's with right now to join you. That is up to you. I'll let you decide that after I give you the details here. So I am flying you to this. You'll start off in this city. It's a very small city called Leh in Ladakh. It's in the northern India. It's in the Himalayas. It's It's the point of India where you've got China and Pakistan, and it's kind of an area that's known as, people call it more Tibet than Tibet is now, and it's very Tibetan Buddhism influenced area, and it is at altitude. So first 3 days you're staying in Leh, and the first day you're taking it easy. I'm gonna put you up. At this hotel that I've stayed at, where the view out your window is just mountains, just the Himalayas, and it's got a little courtyard where they grow all the food that you eat at this hotel. There's a little old man always walking around saying "Jule, Jule, Jule," and which is hello, and he's a very sweet old man. So once you are acclimated after 3 days to this altitude, I'm gonna send you to this monastery, Tikse, which is they call it Little Potala Palace. It's like it's all white monastery. It's Thiksey, into the hills of this mountain overlooking a beautiful valley where everybody's out. It's a Sunday. Everybody's out picnicking in this little valley. They're all having barbecues out there, and there's several dance parties going on.
Dance parties.
But it's yep. You might get dragged into one. And it's just this gorgeous monastery. It's just like what you picture for a Tibetan monastery in the Himalayas. Then I'll send you to another monastery called Hemis, which is believed to be where Jesus Christ learned Buddhism, which is what he then actually turned into Christianity, according to some people in Hemis. But it's another beautiful it's a lower key Buddhist monastery, but it's still like this beautiful Tibetan Buddhist monastery. And then we will you'll go over this pass. I'm suddenly blanking on the pass, but it's the highest navigable road in the world, and it tops out, I think, like 19,000 feet. And on the other side is the beginning of what mountains?
What mountains?
We need to know.
Which mountains? Pressure's on.
It is the beginning of the Hindu Kush Mountains. Ooh. So you go over the pass, and there's several beautiful little villages there, and it's right where you see the start of the Hindu Kush Mountains. And you'll spend a couple days there, maybe camping out by the river. Then you'll come back, and for the final few days, I'm gonna send you on a trek. And so you'll trek to the village of Tar, which is a beautiful like village, kind of tucked away, surrounded by huge mountains, and it's just this little patch of green surrounded by brown mountains. And you'll stay where I stayed, which is at Sonam Angmo's grandmother's house, and she'll put you up and feed you. It's very beautiful spot. The villagers, the people that live there, are all super sweet. You'll drink the tea, which is, I believe, is Chang. I believe it is, and it's made with fermented yak butter.
Oh, I've always wanted to try yak butter and yak milk.
Yes, so you'll get to try some yak butter and yak milk in tea. You'll have some tsampa, which is the grain there. Yeah, and then you'll do this. You'll trek around for 3 days in the Himalayas, visiting a couple other towns that are similar to Tar, before you get back to Leh. And then you fly back down to New Delhi, which is, you have to fly through New Delhi to get to Leh. And you can only really get there in the summer. You could go there in the winter. It's also, I mean, I know you're a little nervous with planes, but this may, call back to how you are fine with turbulence, because it is one of the craziest runways in the world.
Oh,
you look at the Leh Ladakh.
Yes.
Runway.
Oh, this is the one.
Yeah,
like the most dangerous airport in the world.
Yes. but hear me out. I think that might, bring you back to a time when you loved air travel and you were okay with the adventure of air travel.
I love it.
And you'll eat a lot of momos, which are really good dumplings.
Ooh.
All right. That is my pitch for you, is Ladakh. All right. So, Mari, you've heard both of our pitches. Please, which one appeals to you most? Know that right now, Rachel and I believe we're tied.
Oh, man. This is really difficult because South America has a very special place in my heart. I spent 2 months there and I never made it to Argentina. Always wanted to go to Patagonia. And we've got the fairy armadillo. Gosh, and the Andes. I want to see the Andes again. And then we have Leh, Tibet, which I've never been to before. I was supposed to do India with a trip up to Tibet my senior year of college, because it was the one time that I was like, all right, I'm going to do what is it called? Abroad. A semester abroad. And then my last semester in college is when I said I'm going to do it as a big hurrah, and then it got canceled.
No, that's so sad.
I never made it. And then Tibet also has a special place in my heart, because when Pete and I first started dating, he would always wear the same shirt, and it was a Free Tibet shirt. And like one of the first like dates we had, we went to go see the Dalai Lama, who was at Stanford University. And it was the wildest thing. Isn't that the coolest? Yeah, I was like, this guy's cool. I'm gonna date this man. Yeah. Oh, but Argentina is such a good pick too. Oh, and I just watched a season of Alone where they just were in Patagonia. So I like have it in my mind how beautiful it is there. Oh my gosh, like the lakes and stuff are like glass. You can just see the reflection so beautifully of the mountains. Oh, this is hard. It's really hard. You guys both nailed it. Oh man.
I mean, Rachel, do we want to do a tie? Would we allow we'd have to take that back to our bosses, see if they'd even allow that.
I think
Jeez, you both really nailed it. I can pick one. I can pick one.
Okay.
I can pick one.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Tibet.
I knew it.
With
There's
Ladakh.
an emotional connection. It's hard to beat.
Emotional connection.
So it's right next to Tibet.
Okay,
so it's
Ladakh.
Right next to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is one of my favorite places I've ever been to in my life. It is incredible.
No, as soon as you dropped, I've always wanted to go to Nepal or Tibet, I was like, Garrett's got this in the bag.
It's definitely got like my heartstrings in the sense that it was like the one that got away. Because it was
you have to reclaim it.
Yeah, because it was a trip where it was like the payment was already in, and then they're like, "Here's your payment back," and I'm like, "I don't want this back."
I know. I want to go to
it's
there.
Like the classic thing, like the rom-com where you can go with like the high school boyfriend who got away, or the new guy you met in New York who's like a businessman. We all know you're gonna go for that high school guy who got away. You have to. You can't go with the slick New Yorker. Mr. Argentina.
Mr. Argentina. We'll tango another day.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Wow. But those are such good picks. You guys, really good.
I mean, here, I'm going to say this right now. If we get the funding to send you on these send people on these trips, we're going to send you the boat.
We absolutely will.
That is a potential.
We don't care if it costs us.
Will you both come with us?
We would love.
We would love to.
I pitched Argentina because that's the trip I want to do.
Yeah.
We'll do both.
Yes.
All right. That sounds great. I've yet to go to South America, so I need to go to Argentina.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you so much, Mari. This was so much fun.
This was so great. Thanks for having me.
And that was Mari Takahashi choosing a fantastic trip to the beautiful place known as Ladakh, one of my favorite places on earth. And I think she's going to enjoy it whenever we can afford to send her, whenever that happens. Maybe she'll go on her own because I sold it so well.
I will say, I did pitch a very good trip.
Yes. The joy of my success is I'm still writing it.
Uh-huh.
You pitched a great trip.
Uh-huh.
What was it?
Argentina. To the southernmost tip of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a trip I do want to do.
The pink fairy armadillo, famous.
Yeah. I do want to go.
Who could forget?
Argentina is high on my list. It's been on my list for a long time.
I know. I really want to go.
If you're listening from Argentina, please invite us.
Please let us stay at your house.
Please let us stay. We'd love Buenos Aires, but really anywhere, wherever you are, we'll come there.
Hey, tell you what, anybody, anywhere, if you'll put us up, we'll come.
We will come. Mm-hmm. We will join you.
All right.
Don't forget, follow her on Instagram, Atomic Mari. Check out her podcast, OGSoG.
And how do you spell that?
OGSoG. OGSoG.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. It's on all the podcasting places, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. I haven't checked that, but I'm sure it's on all the podcasting places.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Keep moving. It's like it's a public service announcement for exercise, not for travel.